There you go. So we thought we'd give you a little fun introduction to this. Let's get this set up here. So yes, the challenge is here. My name is Marco Ciavolino. I started in First Lego League about 9 years ago when my daughter Amy went to the Mars tournament and said, I could do better than that. Next thing you know, we had 30 homeschoolers in our house, and now 9 years later, and about 40 teams later, we are still doing this. In fact, um, Chris Chris Hoppel, one of our mentors, I think might be the only mentor in Maryland who is simultaneously mentoring JFLL, FLL, FTC, and FRC. So I told him I'd give him the super mentor outfit this year. So it's very exciting. So over the last few years, Debbie Danino and I and others have developed a presentation that's really to motivate you and encourage you in your work as FLL coaches. Now we're going to post this afternoon, so you're welcome to take notes, but it'll all be here, including Jamie's recording. So the question is, you've decided to coach an FLL team. So you're going to give up a ton of hours. You're going to pull your hair out constantly because your kids are going to do their great programs and name them things that you can't even remember. You're going to watch the robots go around and break and fall off the table. You're going to say to the kids, can you please stay focused? Can you please stay focused? You know, and you're going to spend way more than you've budgeted weekly. Particularly if you meet in your home, you're going to run out of food. Our septic system got overflowed one year. I mean, it just, it's amazing. Um, and oh yeah, don't forget, you're going to build the next generation of engineers. Okay, this is simply probably the best program out there for building young engineers. So I've reorganized this a little bit because my daughter Amy is here. I'm going to give you one of this is usually later, but we're going to talk to you about branding your team and show you how quickly you can build a website on Google Sites. So branding is important. You want to have a logo. It provides identity. It provides motivation. As I'm showing you these, you're thinking about cool things. Thinking whether you like Pepsi or Coke. Thinking about excitement, right? So you want to have a name for your team, make it something fun. There's great team names out there. I've loved like the fire breathing rubber duckies, electric chickens, those great names. Make it easy to remember, easy to spell. Make sure you can find a domain name that goes with it. As you can see, you can name your team FTC, but nobody can spell that, right? And there's some examples there of ones I've come up with the years for clients, like Chris Magetti or Classical Chris for a guitar player, ElizabethChiavolino.com or Harp Girl, Forest Hill Lego Club or TechBrick.com. So it's really not too hard. Find someone who knows how to do this and help you find a domain. And you want to do a decent logo for your team. It only needs to communicate one key issue about your team. Don't make your logo try to say everything. Like, we meet in Baltimore every Thursday in a big red house. It doesn't work, okay? I make it very simple. And we actually have some examples here of ones we've done over the years. Sometimes we just adapted the logo like this with our team. Sometimes we created some custom stuff like our first Vex team. I'm not supposed to say that word around here. Before FTC, we did the Vex logo in Vex metal. These were some ones we did a couple years ago, and the teams helped design these two. This was drawn by some of the kids, the Frosty Forecasters. I love that one. This is one of my favorite ones we've ever done, the Tiny Tornadoes. This is our JFLL team. This was done by Cole Danino, who's now out of FL, but quite a few years did that one. This was done by one of the teams. This is one of my favorite ones. We actually were FLL team number 1 2 years in a row. Somehow I got the first registration in. This was 2 years ago. Our 5 guys, and one of my favorite ones of all the ones we've done. And this is our FTC 7, who then subsequently made themselves the Tactical Chief. And they called me and said, "Can you put tack vests and sunglasses on our sheep?" I said, "I think I can, Chris." So that's what we came up with. And this is our new FTC team, 4234. And then these two teams will probably get merged into a rookie FRC team later in the year. So it's pretty exciting. So you definitely want to make clothes. There's different ways to do it. For your team, you can do it yourself, which is very time consuming. If everyone's ever tried to iron 30 or 40 shirts, it's really hard. Don't do it. They don't last long. Local silk screen vendor, great, expensive. Cafe Press is what we usually use online, a little more per shirt, but small quantities, high durability. Some of our shirts have been washed for years. On TechBrick, on Team Tips, there's a whole article on doing clothes, and I encourage you to go read it. It gives you quite a bit of detail. You want to make it fun? These are from a few. Thanks, Windows. Restart later. There we go. This is the team I was talking about over here, the fire breathing rubber duckies. They're a big homeschool team in California. I love these every year they have their little ducky theme. They get little ducks with fire coming out of their helmets, and it's cool. And so you can have a lot of fun with this. It's really part of the whole thing, and I would encourage you to work hard with that on your team. Same thing with your displays. That was our very first year on the right there, and you made that little mini thing, didn't you, with the tech brick thing on it. to match our shirts. And then this was at Worlds a couple years ago. Just go crazy. It's not that expensive, and it really makes your team feel good to have a lot of branding. And on FLL, you can't put anything on your robot. You know, you're not allowed to modify it, but you can put it on your signage, on your tables. But this was from our second year at Worlds, and our robot, that's our robot up on the screen, and you can see our primary sponsor. You know, it's huge. That screen is like, I don't know, 60 feet. It's gigantic. So just get your team name everywhere, get your sponsors everywhere. It's very, very exciting. And then a website. So this is one of the most famous cartoons from the early digital age. It's, I think, one of the only cartoons that has its own Wikipedia article. You look it up from the New Yorker magazine. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Okay, absolutely great article. So the point is, you can look like a huge team. You can have all kinds of input globally if you want. Why? Everyone expects you to have a website. Secondly is everyone wants to read about what you're doing. And thirdly, they're easy to build. Why do you want one? Well, this is like the big wide world of web spaces. You want to have a website, you want to set up a Facebook site and a YouTube site for yourself, put something there, and you'll find yourself quickly accessible in Google. People type in your team's name, and don't worry about the other stuff. That's the bigger picture, but you want to be there. It fulfills your mission of sharing information, which is part of what your responsibility is as a mentor. We've had communications from all over the world almost every week now. In fact, this is traffic for a typical 3 hours on TechBrick right now, if I look at it any time. Every day, we're getting 300 to 500 visitors a day from every country in the world that serves first. It's really remarkable. As far as you can register a domain, again, find someone in your group who knows how to do this, pick one, and then you want to build a website, and we want to walk you through that. And I've asked Amy to come and do that. And this is Amy in our first year of First Lego League. And then she got a little older in our second year of First Lego League, and then we started Vex, and here she is at a Vex tournament, and then here she is at Worlds, and then here she is right now, a UMBC Comp Sci major, and also having worked at Google this summer, she's a Google ambassador for UMBC. It's very exciting. She has her Google Student Ambassador shirt, and if you're really nice to her, she might give you one. So we've asked her to come show you how easy it is to build a website in Google Sites, right? Come on up, Amy. Escape.
Hold on 1 second. Let me get this.
Up here. Having worked at Google, Amy is a Google Chromebook, Mac, Chrome only person, but she'll survive here.
Okay. So first thing, so Google Sites is a really awesome way to set up a really quick website for your team, and it takes no web skills at all, which is really cool. It just does everything for you. So it's even easy enough that you probably have well, I mean, not that it needs to be easy for your students to be able to do it, but the kids on your team could probably keep it updated. All right, so first go to sites.google.com, log in, click create, name your site. I'm gonna call it Amy's Awesome Site. And it'll choose a domain for you on googlesites.com or on offsites.com, and so it'll automatically choose like the name of your site, but that's probably not available and you can't put the number after it. Okay. Then only humans, unfortunately, can make sites. So, no dogs, no robots. You gotta be a human to type that in. Okay. Oh. All right. Doesn't matter. You probably want to pick something better. This is just an example. So here's what you get when you first start up your site. They have lots of really awesome templates that you will make your site look really awesome right away. So if you go to Manage Site, and then over here at the bottom, click on, no, that's not what I click on Theme. Here, you can pick any one of these themes for your team. I'm going to pick this legal pad one. It's kind of robot-y. Or techy. So if you go back, you'll see my site now looks awesome. You can also customize all of the colors and stuff if you go to colors and themes, which is in the same place. Down colors and fonts, and you can change all of that. So once you have a page set up, It's really, really easy to add content. If any of you have ever used Google Docs, it's basically the same interface. So you're just going to click edit, and down here you can type in some content. Hi. And that's, so you can put in some information about your team, and contact information, whatever's going on. So another really cool thing you can do is have updates on your site. So I'm going to go ahead and save and make a new page right here. So on my new page, I'm going to call this update. And I'm going to choose the announcements theme right here. And so now I have an updates page, and I can say, like, you can make a new update. I just made a site. Yes, I spoke stuff right, so whatever. I'm not used to this keyboard.
You're an engineer, that's okay.
No, it's the key. It's the keyboard, really. I know how to spell made in sight. So anyway, so then back on my homepage, I can add these really cool widgets that can do awesome information. So right over here, I can choose where's recent posts right here, and it automatically chooses my updates page I just made. Then I'm gonna drag that over here to the other column, and as soon as it loads, now we have recent. You can see we have recent posts over on the side. So like if you wanted to, I know like in FTC and the first robotics, you have to like keep a kind of a journal. So if you want to have your team like after every post or after every meeting, they can post like what they did or something like that, and then people can stay updated. And there's so much more you can do with Google Sites. I set up a tutorial for the clubs on campus, but it'd be completely applicable to teams. I think you were going to send that all to them. So he's going to send you the tutorial, and then also you're welcome to email me. So he will send you my email address. And so if you're having trouble setting it up, I'm happy to email back and forth and help you get it set up. So Google Sites is awesome. It's really easy to manage. You kind of just put content in. You don't really have to set up the website part of it. So yeah, Google Sites.
So Amy also was, thanks Amy. Amy was also, whoops, I dropped my other mic there. Amy was one of the first high school judges, maybe the first in the country. We encouraged that a few years ago, and they brought Amy and Thomas in. And they have, now that's standard over all the country, I think. High schoolers come in and advise the judges and help them, because that was one of the concerns that Amy always had over the years, was that the judges didn't quite understand how hard they had worked. So, all right, so let's go on. We're going to zoom through this. So this is the 7 tips for new coaches, things we want you to remember. So we have First Lego League counseling, 5 cents. It's worth more than that. Number 1, anything worth doing is worth doing. Jamie already hammered away at this. You're participating in a global program. You're one of the best programs out there. And finally, it's going to challenge and stretch everyone, even you, whether you're engineering a space shuttle or a sandcastle. Just keep in mind, this is something worth doing. All right. Secondly is complete the season in general. Again, Jamie hammered away at this. If you're a first-time coach, it seems a bit overwhelming. The goal is to have something prepared. If you guys go home today, sit down and say, what can we really do? Make it modest, make it complete. Dream big, but work realistically. Your team will be happy to have competed well. Even first-year teams can really, really do well. All right. Now, this comes in all kinds of funny ways. My FTC team last year all spent the night at my house behind the last 8 tournament. 11:45, Nathan Wyan says, let's just rebuild this. So I got all the parts. Nathan, we have 7 gears, 2 pieces of metal, and 8 bolts left. We don't have any parts, and it's too late. Go to bed, guys. So we did. So you got it, but you want to make sure there's something that will run, which is this next point. So here's a Rube Goldberg illustration for those of you that are really old. If you haven't ever seen Rube Goldberg, go look him up. Bottom line is, it's really important that your team scores something. Yes, there'll be teams there with amazing robots. For new rookie teams, make sure there's 3 or 4 things you can get a decent mid-range score. If you don't, we actually have teams that show up and score 0. That is the most discouraging thing for a team that's been working for 3 or 4 months. Not only will your team be encouraged, but make sure they have an acceptable score. Scour the web for building. What happens is YouTube becomes your greatest resource for corporate theft. Okay? Right. This year's Board of Peril. We do this every year. Debbie Dodino wrote these for me. So you've got all these tough things this year. And those of you who are new, this is a big year because there's no more 400-point barrier. It used to be 400 points max. A bunch of teams would hit it every year, and the curve would flatten out and go to worlds that everyone scored 400. This year, if you can score the maximum score, which is 452, I think, we will personally gold plate your car. Okay? Um, you can't do it. And so they've made it much harder. But these are all the really hard things. And those of you that already looked at this know this is a tough challenge. So you got there's no place like home, base, one fish, two fish, don't put your feet on the table. These are all really complex challenges. And of course, there's the animals, which Scott Evans officially answered my question and said they're only there for cuteness. Debbie Danino, I figured they put it there so you couldn't use that wall to line up your robot. Okay. So it's always fun. These challenges are very clever. This is easily the toughest challenge maybe ever because of the scoring scenario. Plan on being here. Jamie already pounded away at this. Every year, I'm going to say this again, listen carefully. Every year we have a bunch of teams that register, buy equipment, meet for months, and just don't show up. Don't do that. Just plan on being there. Why? First of all, if you don't come, you deprive everyone else the opportunity to beat you. All right? Secondly is the point of the thing is the competition experience is one of the most important parts of the experience. It is a wild, crazy, insane day where you're going to meet so many cool kids and parents. And that's one of the things that's always drawn me to this program. You go to Worlds, 10,000 kids, 6,000 adults, 4 days, not one whimper, not one cry, not one abusive parent. It's an amazing group. You need to be here. Jamie said it. I'll say it. If you don't show up, we'll take your gold plated car away. Okay? There's 240 teams, and it's going to grow. You know, everyone needs to be there. 5. Remember the old days of racing? I grew up in Flemington, New Jersey, one of the last quarter-mile dirt ovals in the country. It's no longer there. Run what you brung. People actually just show up with cars and race them. Can you imagine that these days? All right, so there's going to be a lot of amazing robots, but yours will be amazing too because your team did it. So make sure they know what they did, make sure it works, make sure they know how to do it, and come and run it. Okay, we got that clear? Are we real clear on that? And 6, my third rule of consulting is nothing takes an hour. Do not be overly optimistic that your team's going to get things done in 20 minutes. They won't. Okay? You will spend many, many hours working and rethinking and planning ideas. Your guide is a mentor in FLL, and one of the challenges of it is you can't help them directly. So you need to encourage them to stay organized and focused. It's going to take time, and that's just really, really hard for kids. Plus, their attention span in FLL, 3 hours max. I've never been able to get kids over 3 hours at all. And then 7th, be there and be square. You know, you want your kids to be square, not look square. We need sensible, clear-thinking students who will get the work done in this world and in our future and pay for our future Social Security. It's very important. Am I right? We're doing nothing less than cultivating the technology leaders of the future. And that may seem a little daunting, but my daughter Amy is a perfect example, and TechBrick probably has at least 20 kids like her that are all headed into STEM education largely from the work we've done. It's very, very exciting. So you have a huge opportunity. And then we have Rule 87455. Read the rules, read the rubrics, teach the rules, teach the rubrics, practice the rules, practice the rubrics. We got that? You know, they make it really easy. They tell you how you're going to be judged. These are off the website. Here's the scoring areas. Here's the scoring areas. Here's the scoring areas. Do you have any excuse for not knowing what the scoring areas are? Okay, read the rules, teach the rules, practice the rules. You gotta do it. They make it so easy. You're not front-loading your team. You're not manipulating it. You're helping them succeed. And then there's a big press on core values this year. And it's really important your kids know these. These are the ones here. We are a team. We do the work to find solutions. We know our coaches and mentors have all the answers. The honest spirit shows. What we discover is more important that we win, though TechBrick has a little add on that. It's also really fun to win. Okay, so we share experience with others. We display great professionalism. We have fun. Make your kids memorize these. Okay, this is important. It's a critical part of the judging. So any question about what you're going to be judged on? Right now, just to completely blow your mind, a couple years ago in Ohio, I was tasked with shooting all 80 robots. I'm going to run through them real quick. I want you to see the range of insane engineering that's possible with Lego robotics. These will be posted. You go back and look at them later. But there is no limitation to what kids can do with the current Lego robotics system. The range of solutions and creativity is almost beyond comprehension. This is the U.S. Open, 80 of the best teams in the country. And you just really can't believe what you watch what these kids have done that they have built so many absolutely insane robots. Some are very simple, some are extremely complex. Pulleys, manipulators, pickup arms, that every one of these robots accomplished the mission that year. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? You know, it just boggles your mind. How did they even come up with this stuff? Incredible undercarriage engineering, all kinds of clever little devices. There's a very rare black NXT, by the way, if you've never seen one. Crazy ranges of attachments, phenomenal. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? It's incredible, right? Lot of pneumatics here, all kinds of interesting. There's a whole attachment assortment for that robot. That's the bottom of one that had a four-wheel thing. So I only did that not to discourage you, but to encourage you, though you're probably a little discouraged. The encouragement is that Lego Robotics, I love showing it to new and to young engineers because they're like, oh, that's a toy. And so you actually show it to them. And just the NXTG environment is staggeringly complex. And the robotics system is staggeringly complex. So let's get to this next little point here. Teaching your team to speak well, not good, right? All public speakers are made. Now, some people have certain, like I have a nice voice that was a God-given task, and I have a voice that carries. But you learn to speak well. All public speakers learn to speak well. Jamie Gerganis, she's impossible. I can't stand listening to her speak. No, just kidding. Most people freak if asked to speak in public. Google now has, if you type in fear of public speaking, there's over 16 million entries. They're legitimate. The actual term is glossophobia. So if someone says, will you do a little intro for this? Say, no, I'm glossophobic. So the point is, a lot of people would rather die than speak in public, but it's really important. You don't think of this, but this is why it is. JFLL, they speak to the judges, but FLL and FCFRC, if they cannot communicate well, they will not do well. You've got to integrate this into what you do. In the FLL research presentation that Debbie Danino is going to go over in a few minutes, teamwork interview, well, now the teamwork in process, and technical interview, they have to be able to communicate. FTC, same thing. If you can't speak well, you can't do it. And we drill down on our kids about this because I'm taking all our teams out here to do direct fundraising. We're not doing selling chocolate bunnies and stuff this year. All right? They have to go out and pitch why someone should give them $1,000 in our FRC, FTC, or $500 in FLL. They have to be able to do it. So how do you do it? You want them to speak well. There's too much of this stuff around. And if you listen to a couple of the recent presidential debates, you heard some of this, even though I like the debates. I feel a lot more like I do now than I did when I first got here. That's a classic one. Or I know you believe you understood what I think I said, but I'm not sure you realize what you heard is not what I meant. What? Okay. People say things like that. Second thing is, you absolutely must fastidiously eliminate text messaging and kid speak. There's like a classic little, I don't remember what that says anymore, that first one, but there's so much stuff that's creeped into our language. English is a great language. It's the primary one you're working in. Making your mission protected. How many people are listening to WRBS 95.1 Shine FM? They have this contest they run called the No contest. People have to call in and talk for 30 seconds without saying How many people win it? Almost nobody. All right. So you really want to work with your kids to help them speak clearly and well. Here's some examples of how bad language can be. This is an actual sign from a hotel in Washington. I took it with my phone. Read it. Tell me what's wrong with it. So after I read that, I had to look for a trash can so I could urinate. Okay, I mean, you can't use the toilet. It's very exciting, right? This one is funny. I bought a CD DVR tuner, but it didn't have a duplicator from VHS to DVD, but it didn't have a TV tuner in it. So rather than saying no tuner included, it says tuner free. Tuner free. What clever person came up with that? It's an advantage for not to have it. Or this one, which Debbie sent me the other day. This made a lot of sense in the 60s. Okay. When this sign was put up, the guy drowning, now it says laugh out loud, okay? So, I don't know. Very funny. On TechBrick, we have a bunch of exercises on TechBrick you can go download that we've written, and there are many others. These are exercises you can download. Normally we do a couple of these with the group, but we're not going to for time. But they're really fun. People all over the world have used them. I would start your first 5 or 6 weeks with a 10 or 15-minute session of your kids doing interactive exercises, telling stories, speaking extemporaneously. It's important. Everything they say and do in life require clear, effective communication skills. All All right, now get back to this one in a second. I tell kids all the time. I say to them if they're sitting in the audience, say when you can have the greatest idea in the world. You'll be in your corporation. You need $500,000 to build a prototype. Well, so does he, and so does she, and so does he, and so does he. So who are they going to give it to? The company doesn't have unlimited money. It's not the Federal Reserve. Okay, they can't just print cash. The corporation has some money to spend. Are you going to be able to persuade the development team to write you a check for $500,000 or $100,000 or $10,000 to do your project? It's that important. I need to learn it. Now, this is the bonus tip. Forrest Gump, one of my favorite movies. This little scene. We have one rule here. Actually, there's two rules. But the first one, I'll ask you in a second. The second one is, Lieutenant Dan says, don't say anything stupid like getting yourself killed. What was the other rule? Who remembers? Keep your socks dry. That's right. So, you control the whole thing here. You own the space and time. You live or die. There's no reason to fail. You need to understand everything you're doing. Your team needs to check and recheck, master competency and control, and then drill, 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 drill. Now, I always say this because we made this mistake the first few years. Your little team, they work all the time. You get down the day before the tournament. Have we ever tried to do this in 2.5 minutes? No, we haven't. Right? Well, you need to do that early on. That's why TechBrick does the scoring sheets. That's why there's cool iPhone apps on the website now that people have published. You need to start drilling your team early on in every mission. Make sure they can actually do everything. Get to the table, change their attachments, get in and out of the thing. It's amazing what teams forget to do. So, where do you go first? That's a little joke. Where do you go first? First of all, mdfirst.org, which Jamie's already talked about. Bill and I maintain. We'll put these presentations up there a little bit later. TechBrick, I know this is unabashed self-promotion, but frankly, this site has just generated a huge amount of international interest. There's tons of resources there if you haven't gone there. Go there, click on the Food Factor link at the top, and there's a whole page of stuff there to download that people download all over the world. Maryland First, go to the FLL area, know what's there. US First, the actual First Lego League site, know what's there. Make sure you get on the forums, as they said. Make sure you get some good books. Now, here's two. This one is almost indispensable. Now, the number one reason to buy it is TechBrick has a story included on page 160. Okay, so that's a good. They actually haven't quoted us in it. All right, but more importantly, it covers. This is the sample. Jim Kelly is amazing. This book should be sold with your coach's manual. It is one of the most comprehensive overviews of your season. You really can't go wrong with this book. Everyone has bought it, has used it extensively. And then secondly, we have these here. So Let's Go Boys and Girls is one of my clients that I helped Corky Graham get started. It's a nonprofit working with basically underserved children in the Baltimore region, and hopefully nationally soon. We have one of our 8 publications right here with Debbie and Dana and a few others, The Speak to You of Britain. It's just a great, literally week-to-week schedule designed for a Boys and Girls Club environment, but you certainly can utilize it. So, quick summary. Going back, I'm reversing the order here. Get a corporate ID for your team. Don't stress over it. Get a logo, get a name, make it fun. Get some shirts early on so the kids have ID. Build yourself a website. Amy showed you how easy it is. We'll publish her tutorial. Every team in Maryland should have their own website this year on Google Sites, right? Or wherever you want to build it. Okay, secondly is make sure your kids know how to communicate well. It is so important. They have to be able to speak clearly to adults. My son Jonathan, who's 13 and is actually an FPC now, is in a public speaking class in our homeschool co-op. He said, "You're really good." I said, "Jonathan, you realize you've had more public speaking experience between the time you were 7 and 12 than most adults have in their life." He started in the first JRFLL year, did 4 years of FLL, and now in his second year of FPC. Okay? Make sure they know how to communicate well. Teach them to do that. Get your missions down. Know the rules. Know the rubrics. And make sure you show up. Right, Jamie? I want to catch it. Plan to be here at your prelims and at the state tournament. You cannot do anything better. So we will post this on the site later today. Please, folks, have a great season. It is one of the most fun things you've ever done. So that's great. Yeah, I'll just stay down here.